friends, it's Mrs. Rose. Welcome back. I am so very sorry, but the last time do I look funny today? Well, it is pajama day, so I have my pajamas on, but I also decided to wear my Charlotte's Web hat as well. Tomorrow's Crazy Hat Day, so I'm getting a little head start. But I did want to apologize because the last time I was reading Charlotte's Web, we had just started chapter 9 called Wilbur's Boast. Wilbur's Boast. And I got called away for a phone call and I wasn't able to come back and a few other things happened. So I'm back to read now and I'm really excited today because we are going to read the rest of chapter 9. But I also would like to dedicate this chapter in this reading to a special friend. I'm dedicating this to you, Chelsea. Chelsea, I think you may be watching this from the hospital, and I want you to know I'm thinking of you, and I'm so glad you're enjoying our stories. And to everyone else out there, wherever you may be, at home, outside, wherever you may be, I'm reading this to all of you, and especially today to Chelsea. So where we left off, Wilbur was trying to spin a web like Charlotte. And Charlotte, who has 8 legs, has very special strong legs for making a web. Charlotte is lacking that specialty. Wilbur, did I say Charlotte? Wilbur is lacking the specialty that Charlotte has, and Wilbur's trying to spin a web, and Charlotte, the spider, is kind of laughing at him. So listen to what happens next. Charlotte laughed so hard her web began to sway. "What did I do wrong?" said Wilbur when he recovered from his bump. "Nothing," said Charlotte. "It was a nice try." "I think I'll try again," said Wilbur cheerfully. "I believe what I need is a little piece of string to hold me up." The pig walked out to his yard. "You there, Templeton? Templeton, you there?" he called. The rat poked his head out from under the trough. "Got a little piece of string that I could borrow?" asked Wilbur. "I need to spin a web." "Yes, indeed," replied Templeton, who saves string and everything else. "No trouble at all, anything to oblige." He crept down into his hole, pushed the goose egg out of the way, and returned with an old, dirty piece of white string. Wilbur examined it. "That's just the thing," he said. "Tie one end to my tail, will you, Templeton?" Wilbur crouched low with his thin, curly tail towards the rat. See his curly tail? His curly tail towards the rat. Templeton seized the string, passed it around the end of the pig's tail, and tied 2 half hitches. Charlotte watched in delight. Like Fern, she was truly fond of Wilbur, whose smelly pen and stale food attracted the flies that she needed, that she desired, and she was proud that he was not a quitter and was willing to try again to spin a web. So here we see Templeton tying that string to Wilbur's tail. What do you think? Will it work? Can you tie a string to a pig's tail? And can that pig make a web? Well, the rat and the spider and the little girl watched. Wilbur climbed up to the top of the manure pile, full of energy and hope. "Everybody watch," he cried, and summoning all his strength, he threw himself in the air head first. The string trailed behind him. But as he neglected to fasten the other end to anything, it really didn't do any good, and Wilbur landed with a thud, crashed and hurt. Tears came to his eyes. Templeton grinned. Ooh, that rat would grin at him. Charlotte just sat quietly. After a bit, she spoke. But let's take a look at what that looked like. There's Wilbur jumping off the top of the manure pile. Do you see Charlotte? Charlotte's up here in the web. And here's Wilbur jumping with the string tied to his tail. And look at that rat, Templeton. That rat is just grinning ear to ear. So then, Charlotte has a kind voice, and when Charlotte spoke, it sounded like this. You can't spin a web, Wilbur, and I advise you to put that idea out of your mind. You lack two things you need for spinning a web that a pig doesn't have. What are they? Said Wilbur sadly. You lack a set of spinnerets, and you lack know-how. But cheer up, Wilbur, you don't need a web. Zuckerman supplies you with 3 meals a day, 3 big meals a day. Why should you need to worry about trapping food like this spider does? You don't need to worry about that at all. Wilbur sighed. You're ever so much cleverer and brighter than I am, Charlotte. I guess I was just trying to show off. Serves me right. Templeton untied his string and took it back to his home. Charlotte returned to her weaving. You needn't feel too bad, Wilbur. Not many creatures can spin webs. Even men aren't as good as it, or women, as spiders, even though they think they're pretty good and they'll try anything. Did you ever hear of the Queensboro Bridge? Wilbur shook his head. Is it a web? Sort of, replied Charlotte. But do you know how long it took men to build it? 8 whole years. My goodness, I would have starved to death waiting for that long. I can make a web in a single evening. Men think they can do the work of spiders. I don't think so. What do people catch in the Queensboro Bridge? Asked Wilbur. Bugs? No, said Charlotte. They don't catch anything. They just keep trotting back and forth. Excuse me, I think I need to take this